So, Coach, just talk a little bit about the combine and what you feel that it helps, or how it helps free agent specialists.
Yeah, I think it's more than a combine. We call it a camp. It's comprehensive, and what we do is we want to give everyone an opportunity to experience what we had the fortune to do, and that's kick in the NFL. And we feel that through the experience of playing, through the years of coaching ourselves and coaching others, that we can offer them valuable information that whether they perform well enough to kick in front of the pro teams or not, they have a lot of great information to take with them so they can go and build upon that. And they also get to see all these different guys out here so they can see where they are, where they need to be, and ideally where they want to be is going to be synced up with that.
Just talk about, I guess, the life of a free agent specialist. Somebody like myself who, has been out of college for a few years and is trying to get back on people's radars. What can you do to get back on people's radars, and what's really important?
The most important thing is how you're kicking right now. I don't care if you're All-American 4 years ago in college or whatever accolade you may have. Any pro team, how are you kicking the ball right now? And so coming to an event like this, we believe creates value. We've helped guys get plenty of workouts, get guys into training camp on rosters. We feel like it's the old saying that, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it to drink. And we feel that this event provides guys the opportunity to drink. Now, whether they listen to us and drink, that's their choice. Everyone's different. And kicking is 90% mental, and so you don't have to go out there and hit a million balls. What you have to do is hit a couple of quality balls when the opportunity presents themselves. So whether it's at our event, another event, or now you have these elite combines that the NFL acquired recently, any situation where you can get yourself in front of someone who can make a decision is an important thing. What I tell guys is the most important thing is to get on the short list, and that's keeping updated video for them to have easy access to. So these guys with video people here, high def, quality video, but in about a month from now, month and a half, we encourage them to go out and get another video on themselves and keep adding it to their profile so you can show consistency and you can keep teams updated. And whether you have an agent or not, you still have to be your own agent. It's like being your own caddy in the sense that make phone calls, send emails, be persistent but not a pest. But that way they know that name, and so that way when that name does pop up in a meeting of who we're going to bring in to work out, ideally your name will surface and you'll be on that short list.
Okay, so a guy like Clint Stitzer gets signed to the Cincinnati Bengals, and a lot of people didn't know who Clint Stitzer was. And talk about an experience like that. How do you go from maybe being off some people's radars and then kind of exploding onto the scene? How does that happen?
Well, I think in the inner circle, people were aware of Clint. He has a good agent. He came to our event the last couple of years, kicked well, and he got invited to a workout last year with the Jets during the off season, and was signed by them. And so he was kind of on that short list. And then also, when Olindo Mare was nicked up during the preseason last year, he signed and got 1 or 2 games in there and did well. And so you have to come through when those opportunities present themselves. I think Colin Powell once said that there's 2 things a person needs. That's good training and an opportunity. And being a kicker, we're like sharpshooters. We're only going to have limited opportunities to showcase what we can do. We've kicked thousands upon thousands of balls throughout our whole life, but we may only get 5 kicks, to make or break us with a team. And you've got to come through when that opportunity presents himself. And so he kind of did. And so when that Bengal opportunity presented itself, he did what he had to do to get signed.
Okay, so for a person like me who's been out for a couple of years, what should my expectations be towards, should I be going towards a UFL job? Should I be trying for an NFL job when it comes back? or what exactly would be your game plan to try to make it?
You know, the reality of it is in the NFL is there are only 32 teams, and then each year there might be 2 or 3 spots available. And so you have to be realistic about that. You need a little bit of luck. That's just the way it goes. I always tell people that there were dozens of people who are better kickers than me that never made it in the NFL. And I'm very fortunate and thankful that I was able to play. You know, I think that the UFL definitely adds benefit, especially someone like yourself who's been out of college for a couple of years, to kind of get that game experience again. You know, the adrenaline, dealing with pressure, all those things, they're part of the process. And I even encourage guys that are still a little green or raw, you know, to play some arena ball. And you know, not so much the uprights, but just, you know, putting the pads on, you know, the crowd, the energy, and we as kickers, you know, and punters can't get too amped up and too overly hyped, because we have to stay calm when we're kicking the ball. And so learning how to manage the emotion, the adrenaline, the energy will only build upon itself. So whether it's the UFL and ideally an NFL opportunity, you're better prepared.
So basically, I think you've explained this before, but basically there are stepping stones that you know, you're building your resume. So it starts, you know, from this point. This is the starting point of your opening resume. So talk about the different steps that there are to try to get signed.
Absolutely. So the way we work this camp is you have 3 chart days, and we have requirements in order for you to qualify to kick in front of the coaches and scouts. And our philosophy is, you know, there are no scouts out here, and you've got to be able to perform here first. So this is the first step. Then comes the pro day when the teams are here, and you've got to be able to perform there as well, because you've got to impress them in this setting in order for them to go back to their team, their GM, their head coach, player personnel director, and say, hey, here are 1 or 2 or 3 guys that I was really impressed with at this event. I think it's worthwhile for us to bring them in and take a close look at them. And whether that's a private workout or whether that's mini camps, which you're seeing more teams do, is having an open tryout during a mini camp weekend. Then you've got to perform well there. And once you perform well there, then ideally you'll leave that mini camp with a contract offer. And then now, you know, assuming there's a season, etc., now you've got your off-season workouts, you have your other mini camps, your OTAs, and you have to continue performing well there to get the training camp. Next step. Training camp, you're competing every day, right? And then you have your preseason games. And what I tell guys is that whether you get any kicks in preseason games or not, when you're in practice, you kick well, coaches talk amongst themselves from team to team to team. When you're out in preseason game and you're warming up pregame, there are scouts out in the stands that are watching you. And so whether you get any kicks or not, you still have to make sure that you're always performing at a high level. And then when you do get those opportunities in the games, then obviously you've got to make those opportunities. So everything builds up to a point where you have to consistently validate what you're doing out there.